Hey there guys and gals, I am Jim Bob, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my in-depth review of the Big Bud DLC. Now we've been waiting patiently for this since the rumour first broke back in February that this DLC was coming. Details spread very quickly across the internet. A few days later, Giants released a teaser, a little teaser trailer hinting at the DLC but not actually confirming it. And then, about 4 weeks ago, Giants finally actually confirmed the DLC. And since then, they've bombarded us with fact sheets and a couple of little teaser trailers and videos here and there. And then the DLC finally went live on Tuesday, the 9th of May. Costs $11.99 here in the UK. If you're in America, it's $14.99. Canada, I believe it's $19.99 in Canadian dollars. I know it's $14.99 in euros. Elsewhere, I'm not really too sure on the pricing. You'll have to check your local PlayStation store. So, here is all of the equipment in front of us that we get within the DLC. You can see we've got the two Big Bud tractors. We have the 3 cultivators, the 3 seeders, the plough, the trailed lifter. We also have the auger wagon and the manure spreader as well. And we're going to look at each piece individually and break everything down, have a look at everything in action. I'm going to have a little bit of comparison work in there as well. And then at the end of the video I will sum up my thoughts and let you know what I think of it, whether I think it's really worth the money, and if I feel it really brings anything to the game itself. So let's get on with the rest of the review. So we'll start then with the star of the DLC itself, the Big Bud 747. This was originally built in 1977 for a cost of $300,000, and it was custom built for the Rossi brothers. It is a one-of-a-kind. There is no other 747 in existence. This is the only one. It's an absolute monster of a tractor. As we saw the close-up a moment ago of the Silver Series logo, it has a Detroit diesel twin engine. Now it was originally built, it had a 760 brake horsepower engine. It was later tuned up to 960, and according to the Giants dev blog that was released a couple of weeks ago, it had the potential to go all the way up to around 1100 brake horsepower. Hence the power on this one here being marked as 1100 horsepower. As we move around the back, you can see there is no 3-point harness at the back. It's just a tow hitch, but we do have some piping cables available there. And look at these wheels, they are absolutely massive. The tyres for the Big Bud itself were actually made custom by the United Tyre Company of Canada. Now, they unfortunately went bankrupt in 2000, which is one of the contributing factors to why Big Bud was retired in 2009, as it became very difficult to source replacement parts for it. But it is an absolute monster. We get a close-up of that Detroit diesel there, and look at the size of that radiator grille at the front. It's huge. It's just as tall as we are. This is truly a gargantuan piece of equipment, this tractor. Absolutely massive. So as we pop up the steps, we can see the logo there for the Williams brothers. These are the guys who currently own Big Bud. As I said, it's not in service anymore. It retired in 2009 and now lives in the Heartland Museum in Iowa, where it has done since 2014. We look at the interior, very much a late 70s kind of style on the interior here. Love those levers, love that dashboard. Got a huge great big window at the back, and we can see there we've got a camera mounted on there as well. Some speakers up in the top corners of the cabin here, and there's the monitor so you can see what's going on through the cabin. Really nice interior here. Let's fire her up. Really nice engine noise there. You can see the smoke billowing out of the exhausts. We have twin exhausts, one either side of the engine, and you can also see we have a moving fan inside the engine as well. So a nice little bit of active animation on the model. And there you see it stopping and then starting up again. And as I said, there's that camera that we talked about, mounted on the back, so you can actually see your equipment. We look at the lights. There are two stages of lighting on this. The first stage turns on the front lights and the rear brake lights, and then the second stage will turn on the rear spotlights as well. There are no additional lights, that is it, they are your two stages. And we do have indicators, but only on the front of the tractor. As you can see, they are mounted below the radiator there at the front. No rear indicators on this tractor, as you can see. So let's go over some of the details here as we hear that engine firing up. Definitely a very unique sounding engine. So, the Big Bud will cost you $405,000 to buy, and $780 per day in maintenance. That's actually not too bad when you consider just how powerful this thing is. You know, 400,000, you know, it's cheaper, considerably cheaper for that power band than all of the other large tractors that are currently in the game. It has a huge fuel tank as well, 3,785 litres. That'll keep you running for a long time. That works out at about 1,000 gallons of fuel. It puts out 809 kilowatts of electrical power, and as we've seen stamped all over the front of it, will also churn out 1,100 brake horsepower. An absolutely monster piece of equipment. You can see with duals we are barely staying within the white lines on the road, but it can go wider, and it does go wider. This tractor has, you know, the option to customize your wheel setup, as you will see in just a second. So just one more look around the front. You can see again the fan spinning away there. It's a really nice, really detailed model, and it's going to be fun to use this on some of the larger fields, I think. So here are the wheel options. You can have it with just single wheels. Great for manoeuvring it around to get to from a shop to a sell point to a farm, and then customize it at the farm. Then with the duals, and here it is with the triples. Look how wide it is. Now the Challenger in game that can have triples, the triple wheels on that are actually narrower tyres than the dual wheels, so it's not that much wider than when fitted with duals. Not the case with the Big Bud. All of these wheels are absolutely huge and the same size, so this thing is massive. So here is baby brother. This is the Big Bud 450. Really, really lovely looking engine. Really nice, detailed body. I absolutely love this this tractor. I think I actually prefer this to the 747. I can see myself having a fair few of these on my various different farms. Again, really nice detailing work. We'll take a close up there of the pivot in the middle of the body. And swing around. Again, no 3-point hitch at the back, but we do have some hose connectors, and obviously we have the tow point there as well. As we swing around the other side, get another look at that linkage in the middle there for the pivot. See those pistons and cables. The level of detail in these tractors is really, really nice. And there is that 500 horsepower engine there. Again, it's very nicely detailed. Look at the cabling. And everything just looks really crisp and clean and sharp. Really, really like this. We'll pop up here, get a quick peek in the inside of the cab. And as we walk back around the front, with a look at that big radiator, let's make our way up into the cab itself. So in here, it's a little bit more updated than the 747. We have some additional equipment added in. We have some slightly more modernized levers on the side here. Again, good field of view. We've got some interior lighting and again, speakers mounted on the sides there as well. A little side seat there. And some overhead controls. A little CB's been added in there as well. Let's fire her up. And as with the 747, this one also has moving engine parts. Again, we have that fan spinning there behind the radiator, drawing in air, helping keep that engine cool, feeding it. And you can see it just slowing down there as we stop the engine. You may have noticed as well, we actually have digital readouts in there as well. Looking at the light situation, we have working front lights. When we go to stage 2, we get those rear lights. And we do have a stage 3 as well, which is these side-mounted angled forward lights as well. We have indicators. They are mounted on the top of the cab this time. Again, no rear indicators, they're just mounted on the front. And there they are. So that is the lighting situation with this particular version of Big Bud. And let's take her for a test drive. So, this is actually quite a reasonably priced tractor in terms of the game. It's $225,000 to buy. It'll cost you $620 a day in maintenance. I love the noise on this engine. Beautiful noise. And you can just notice just above the steering wheel there we have those two digital readouts. The one on the left is miles per hour. And then the one on the right is our RPM. As with the 747, this is a top speed of 18 miles an hour, or 30 kilometers an hour. Has a power output of 368 kilowatts and a 500 brake horsepower engine. Fuel tank will hold 2,082 litres of fuel. That's roughly 550 gallons. No customizable options on this tractor, which is a bit of a shame. I was kind of hoping that we would be able to put duals on these as well, but unfortunately not. It's as is. What you see here is what we get. There's no way to edit this at the moment. Maybe it'll get patched in the future to allow us to add duals. Who knows? But at the moment, this is how it comes, and it's the only way it can be. So there it is, the Big Bud 450. So as we get into the first piece of equipment from the DLC, here it is, the Gregoire Besson SPSL9 plough. This thing is ginormous. Look how long this thing is. Has a working width of 10.5 meters. That's 34 feet. It's absolutely huge. It's available in two different versions. This one here is the one that's fitted with universal mold boards. And this second version here is fitted with slatted moldboards. It only costs an extra couple of £1,000 to make the change. But there it is, the monster plough. Now it has a 3-point hitch, so any normal tractor with a 3-point harness will be able to just back up to it and connect, as you see there. However, both the 747 and the 450 have no 3-point rear harness, so you have to use the trailed lifter, which costs an extra $15,000. But that will allow you to back up and connect and then operate the plough. And as we unfold it here, look how wide this thing goes once it starts moving. Look at that, that's absolutely huge. This thing is going to chew through fields so quickly. Absolutely massive. So to give you some stats, costs $130,000 to buy the plough. As I said, the trailed lifter, if you're using a big bud, will cost you an extra $15,000. Has a working width of 10.5 metres, that's 34 feet. Operating speed of 9 miles an hour, or 15 kilometres per hour. Costs $80 a day in maintenance. And as we've already seen, there are 2 different versions that you can buy, either with universal or slatted moldboards. In terms of the trailed lifter, as I said, $15,000 to buy, will cost you $10 a day in maintenance. But that can be used for more than just the plough. You can use that with anything, as you will see a little later on in the video. Look how much earth we're moving after just 2 passes. And of course, because it's a plough, we can use it to create new fields. And we've got a little comparison here for you as well. We have a quad track pulling a Salford 6.2 metre plough and a big bud ploughing over the top, and look how much wider that plough width is. Okay, next up we start looking at the seeders. First off, the Seedhawk XL toolbar and the Seedhawk 980 air cart. Now this toolbar is huge, 84 feet. That's a working width of 25.6 meters. This thing is massive. And look at the size of this air cart that comes with it as well. It's huge. Absolutely massive air cart. It's so big. It does actually come with the option of rear duals on the tank. You will see it with singles a little bit later. But these are the duals that can be fitted to the rear. Look how long this tank is. That's what makes it so big. And look how high that is. Even folded up, it's still absolutely, enormous. So let's unfold it and see what it looks like. It just sort of flops out. You can see the hydraulic pistons there. Pushing and moving these arms, folding them out. Look at the size of this thing. This is one seriously large seeder. We have this little ladder to go over the pipes there that connect it to the air cart. But yeah, this thing is a beast. So let's see it in operation. And the first thing you'll notice is a very distinctive sort of whining noise. That is the air seeder sound effect. So let's break some details down for this thing then, while you see some footage of it in operation. It's not cheap. The toolbar is going to cost you $290,000. The seed cart to go with it is going to cost you a further $185,000. So this thing is going to cost you around $475,000 just for the seeder and the air cart. That's $500,000. It's a huge amount of money, but you know you're getting a seriously massive piece of equipment for your money. Costs $800 a day in maintenance for the frame itself, and the tank costs a further $70 in maintenance per day. Operating speed of 9 miles an hour, 15 kilometers an hour. That's pretty standard, same as most seeders. It takes a combination of seed and fertilizer, and as I said, has that huge working width of 25.6 meters. This thing is just off the charts big. It's over 10 meters larger than the largest in the base game, which is the Amazon Condor. That has a working width of 15 meters. This is 25.6. That's a huge, huge difference. It requires a whopping 471 kilowatts of electrical power to operate, and you need 640 horsepower to pull this as well. Now, I would say you probably need to be a little bit higher than that. You get any kind of incline pulling this thing, especially with that seed tank there, which has a whopping 34,500 litre capacity. When that thing's full and you're going up an incline, you're going to want more than 640 horsepower, or you are going to start crawling. It's such an amazing piece of machinery. I love this thing. Can't wait to put it into use. So here we have a Big Bud 450 pulling the Amazon Condor, and you can see we're using that trailed lifter to actually connect to it, and there is a 747 pulling the Seed Hawk unit, and look how much of an overlap we have. As I said, a 10.6 meter difference between the size of these two seeders. This was the previous largest up against the new largest. And this is the seed tank. This has a really, really nice little party piece when it comes to filling up. It'd be a bit tricky to judge distances to the seed points straight off the bat, because the pipe is really long. And you can use anything to refill that, so you don't have to use placeable seed tanks. You can, if you really want to, it'll take you forever, but you can use pallets to fill the chute if you want to. You see the seed there going in at the top. You can just about make out the seed through the grating. It's quite hard with the orange colour against the purple interior. But to give you an idea of how thirsty this thing is when it comes for seed, it cost me $23,000 on medium to use that. There you see the confirmation of the cost in the bottom top corner there. $23,000 to fill just the seed portion. And there's still the fertilizer on top of that as well. So you don't ever want to reset this unless you absolutely have to, because you will lose a fortune in terms of seed and fertilizer that you're putting into this thing. And you can see there, much easier to tell with the fertilizer. And when it folds up, again we get that great animation there. And what we also get is the steps that fold up as well. You can't see it here, so here's from a different angle, and you'll see the steps fold up as well. another nice piece of animation on this particular piece of kit. Up next is the second of our seeders. This is the Hasson Terminator TH18, and this in front of it is the Hasson TH1400 seed tank. See these pipes connecting from the tank through to the seed frame. Those pipes are actually folded up when they are not connected. You will see that a little bit later. And again, look at the size of this piece of equipment. Really, really big. 212,000 to buy this seeder, and another 98,000 to buy the tank that goes with it as well. So that means you're looking at 310,000 for the seeder. But this is actually a really, really useful seeder, because this also cultivates. You can see the equipment on the side there, and at the front it cultivates and seeds. So we have a dirty cornfield here, recently harvested, and we're going to plant straight onto that. And as we unfold, give you an idea of the size of this. It has an 18-meter working width. That's 59 feet. And look at it just folding out those hydraulic rams, pushing the various different parts down. And let's have another look at this now that it's unfolded. So you can see the cultivation unit there at the front, and obviously behind that we have the seeder. I love all these pipes that you can see connected. Look how intricate it looks here. And this is also an air seeder, which is why you've got a lot of piping connecting to the back as well as throughout the rest of the rig. Not just to deliver seeds, but also, you know, to deliver the hydraulic pressure needed as well. So again, you'll notice that telltale sort of whining noise of the pneumatic rig. You need 450 horsepower to pull this particular unit, although again I would advise higher than that if you're working on any kind of incline, because the seed tank, you know, holds 14,000 litres, and when that's full, you know, it's going to add some weight. And 450 horsepower just might not be enough when you're on an incline. I really like this seeder. It's a really, really nice unit. And again, as we said, it cultivates as well, and it fertilises. This is an all-in-one. It's it's double the size of the Horsch Pronto. It's effectively, you know, two of those strapped side by side. Again, like the Seed Hawk, this will do the basic main grains, so barley, wheat, canola, and soybeans, as well as grass as well, and obviously oilseed radish. And there you can see those pipes are all folded up now at the back, now that it's not connected. Now this may be slightly bugged. There is no actual animation of seeds moving through the pipe at the bottom end of the pipe. So we'll see if that's a bug. They do still come out the top, as you can just about make out there. And again, once we're ready, we will move over to the fertilizer tank. Just fold the pipe away to move. If they were closer together, then you wouldn't necessarily need to do that. You could drive with the pipe open if you wanted to, but This time we're going to put some seed in here as well. Now, interestingly enough, both this seed tank and the one from the Seed Hawk also accept sugar beets, sunflower and corn. But the rigs that they come with don't plant those kind. You'll see a way around that a little bit later on. And there we see the fertilizer pouring in. Again, no animation on the bottom of the pipe. It has kind of a different shaped bucket. I love watching that hose just flopping over the top there as it moves over, and then the tank lids come down. And now we have our third and final seeder, the Great Plains YP2425A. This is an awesome piece of kit. $142,000. So not that pricey, considering it's an 18.2 meter seeder. That's 60 feet. Has a tank capacity of 5,800 litres. Again, operating speed of 9 miles an hour. And look at the detailing on this thing again. Really, really nice. I do love the look of this thing. In terms of animations for closing the lids, only the tank on the left actually has an operable cover. And it has an unusual way of unfolding. It pulls itself back towards the tractor. That's really nice. I do like that. You can see on the side there we have the ridge markers. But this, as I said, is a multi-purpose seeder. So not only can it plant your standard grains of wheat, barley, canola and soybeans and oilseed radish, it can also plant corn and sunflowers and sugar beets, although it can't plant grass. So if you have one of these and you need to grass a field, you can't use this seeder to do it. The great thing about this though is this is an all-in-one seeder. With the exception of grass, you can plant and potatoes, you can plant pretty much anything you want with one single seeder. I think it is one of the best possible purchases out of this new DLC. This is a fantastic piece of kit. Now, I did have a few issues with this particular piece of equipment when I was moving it to this field to test it. I was pulling it with both of the tracked Challengers. More than powerful enough. This only needs 280 horsepower to operate. But the sheer size and weight of it, plus the fact that it's very narrow, means it caused real issues for both of those two tractors. So my advice is to stick to something a little bit more traditional, or something a little bit heavier. So here we are, we're planting sunflowers now as we run alongside the wheat we've just planted. And how's about this? We can use the Hasson seed tank in conjunction with the seeder to really massively boost our seed capacity as well. Although we can't do anything with the fertilizer, this seeder can't apply fertilizer, so that won't affect the total. But you can really massively increase your seed capacity using this tank here. Okay, so now it's time to take a look at our cultivators. And we get 3 in the game, and this is the first of them, the largest of the 3. This is the Flexicoil ST 820. And as you can see, this is absolutely massive. Even folded up, it's a very wide piece of equipment, and it's also very, very tall as a result of its size and being folded. It looks very menacing, very imposing. You certainly wouldn't want that to fall on you. it would do some serious damage to you. So as we see it unfold here, it's like a pair of wings that are just unfurling here. Now we're using a Big Bud 747 with triple wheels. Now that is an insanely wide tractor. And look how small it looks in comparison to this cultivator. You know, it's absolutely huge. And again, I love the detailing on this. We have the springs that you see on the back, and then I love this gear mechanism here as well. The chains on the pulley cogs that help pull everything together, along with those pneumatic rigs as well. It's a truly, you know, awe-inspiring look to it. And look how much ground we are cultivating in a single pass as well. You know, this is, you know, an absolutely massive cultivator. 24 meters working width. That's 80 feet. You know, this is a giant piece of equipment. And it comes with a hefty price tag as well. It's going to cost you $186,000 to buy, and a further $50 per day in maintenance. Has an operating speed of 10 miles an hour, that's 17 kilometers per hour, and you're going to need 500 brake horsepower to pull this thing successfully. And despite its size, you can see it manages the turns at the end of the field pretty comfortably. You know, we've actually got more space here than we need to turn. And we're going to do another largest against largest comparison for you. Starting with the original largest cultivator. This has a working width of 14.5 meters. This is the largest from the base game. And this is the Flexicoil, pulling over the top of that same swath that's just been cultivated. We've got an almost 10 meter wider cut here. And just look how wide that extra overlap is. Absolutely massive. Okay, so now we go on to the middle of the three cultivators. This is the Bednar Swifter SM18000. You can see here it is all folded up, and you see there's a bar there holding the two wheels. That bar actually is removed as it unfolds. You'll see that in just a second. It's a really nice cultivator, this. There's a little section here at the front as well for additional cultivation, as you can see. There goes the bar, and it kind of walks its way back towards the tractor before dropping down. And there we go. This is the Swifter in operation. So this has a working width of 18.2 meters, so about 6 meters, you know, shorter in width than the Flexicoil. That's a 60-foot working width. But that reduction in size also means a reduction in price. So this will cost you $120,000 and $40 per day in maintenance. Again, like the Flexicoil, you will need 500 horsepower to pull this, so you still need a pretty powerful tractor. And it has an operating speed of 10 miles an hour. Again, that is 17 kilometers per hour. Now on a farm like this, a straight choice between the two, you would probably end up going for the Flexicoil if you had the money. However, I think this Bednar Swifter is ideal for maps like Sandy Bay. You've seen it folded up and it's quite narrow. It's quite easy to maneuver. It does have a sort of a hinged joint at the front to ease turning around corners. So I think on Sandy Bay this would be absolutely ideal. And now we have the third and final cultivator included in the DLC. This is the AgriSEM Cultiplow Platinum. And this is not just a cultivator, this is also a subsoiler as well. So like we saw in the Kuhn DLC, this will remove the need to plough your field. If we get a close-up of some of the detail on here, this is a really, really beautiful looking piece of equipment. I love the attention to detail on it, I love those springs. It's got a really great look to it. I think it's fantastic. And this, for me, is one of the star pieces of this DLC. It's going to add so much functionality to the game. And for those of you that didn't get the Kuhn DLC and have subsequently missed out on that subsoiler, you'll now have one that is twice the size if you pick up this DLC. So let's see it in operation. There we go. Now because this is a subsoiler, it does mean it runs at a slower speed, more akin to that of a plough. So the running speed of this is 7 miles per hour. That's 12 kilometers per hour. You still need a lot of power to pull it because it is a plough as well. It does have that plough effect as well as cultivating, which is why it has such a high power requirement of 450 horsepower to operate this piece of equipment. An 8 meter working width, that is 26 feet. It'll cost you $82,000 and a further $30 a day in maintenance. But that's actually pretty good value when you consider the cost of a plough and a separate cultivator. You know, and you're getting an 8 meter working width. I think 82,000 is a bit of a bargain. As long as you have a tractor powerful enough to pull it, I think you're getting an absolute steal here. So if you haven't seen a subsoiler in operation before, I'm going to show you an overview of the map screen here. So you can see this field actually has seeded sunflowers on it, and we're just ripping that up at the moment. And as we change to soil composition, you can see that we are removing the need to plough this field. That is what a subsoiler will do. It removes the need to plough without actually ploughing. So we can't use this to create new fields like a regular plough, but we can use it to remove the need to plough and get that extra 10% yield bonus for a fully ready field. And as I said, for me, one of the star pieces of this DLC. At 82,000, it's a pretty good bargain in my eyes as well. You just need to make sure you have a tractor that's powerful enough to pull it. Okay, so now we move on to the Bressard Eevee 2200 120 WR. Now this is a muck spreader. Now when the images first came out of this, a lot of people just glanced at it and just assumed it was a trailer. And at the time as well, you know, it had a lower capacity than it does now. But it isn't a trailer, it is actually a manure spreader. And a massive one at that as well. Look at the size of this thing. This is, a gigantic piece of equipment. And here we see, it hooked up to the Challenger. Now this is a very large tractor, and this thing, makes that tractor look normal sized. It's going to cost you $198,000 to buy, and a further $240 per day in maintenance. Has a working width of 15 meters, that's 50 feet, as you may have guessed from seeing it stamped on the side of the trailer there, and has a capacity of 70,000 litres. Now that's up from the original 50,000 litres when this spreader was first announced. and an operating speed of 12 miles per hour. That's 20 kilometers per hour. Now, I actually ran a capacity test to see just how far I could get on 7 and 8 combined on American Outback, and you're about to see the results of that. We've finally run out of manure, and there we go. Managed to get a lot done off a single 70,000 litre tank. And don't forget, you can also change your helper status so that he can buy direct from your manure pile. And last but not least, we have the Brent Avalanche 1596 auger wagon, available in a choice of colours and wheel types as well. So we'll have a little wander around this wheeled green version here. You can see all the warning stickers all over the pipe here. Some really nice detail to this, and look how big it is as well. Genuinely large piece of equipment. You've got the turn handle there to remove the cover across the top. Obviously it's automatic in game, but that's what you would use in real life. Look at those wheels, huge, great big wheels. But of course, you don't have to have it with wheels. You can have it tracked, as you can see there. So as we see it in operation, let's run through some of the stats. It'll cost you $112,000 to buy, and a further $190 per day in maintenance. It has a capacity of 53,000 litres. That's 10,000 more than the Bergman that comes with the base game. So a big step up. We get a close up there of those tracks turning away. As I said, we have a choice of both wheels or crawler tracks, and a choice of colours as well in either red or green. It's a really nice auger, and it also has a fully adjustable pipe as well. So you can see the pipe itself will move up and down, and the head will also pivot as well. So you get a lot of range of motion and height with this auger wagon. It's a really nice piece of kit. And then, as you'll see the grain drain away, you actually have a moving part inside as well. You can see the screw at the bottom turning as it draws the grain through to the feed pipe. So, is the DLC worth getting? Well, let's summarise everything and then pass judgment. First off, we're getting 3 cultivators. We're getting 3 seeders, we're getting a huge plough, we're getting a massive fertiliser spreader in terms of a muck spreader, and we are also getting a very large capacity auger on top of that as well. And let's not forget, we're getting 2 tractors on top of that as well, the Big Bud 450 and the Big Bud 747. So we're getting a lot of bang for our buck with this DLC. In terms of standout pieces, I think the number of standout pieces against the total number of pieces in the DLC indicates just how good the DLC pack is. Now, the Kuhn DLC I really enjoyed, I really liked. For me, out of the 18 pieces in there were 2 or 3 standout pieces, and they were the wrapped baler, the bale wrapper, which allowed us to wrap square bales, and the 4-metre subsoiler. With this DLC there are 12 pieces, and I think 4 of them are standout pieces, and they are as follows. The 8-metre Cultiplow. Now this is the piece of equipment on the far left. You can see how small this folds up. This can be used on any farm. There are no farms that this will not be useful on. You know, it'll get round any road. It's nice and compact when it's folded up. But to have an 8-metre working width that will remove the need to plough as well as cultivate a field means that maps with small to medium sized fields are going to absolutely love this piece of equipment. Second up is the Swifter 18.2 metre cultivator. I think this is a really, really good, very underrated piece. Again, it requires a lot of power, 500 horsepower to pull, but it extends the working width of the current in-game cultivators by around 4 meters, and it's quite compact as well. You can see it folded up. It's quite narrow. It has a pivoting front axle, which means it's quite maneuverable as well. This can be used on, I think, quite comfortably on some of the European farms with the tighter, narrower roads. The UK maps like Sandy Bay are really going to benefit from this. It's going to be able to get round some of those corners. It's going to be able to get through the tight twisty bits with that added manoeuvrability of the pivoting axle. The third piece of equipment I think is a standout is the Hasson seeder, an 18-meter working width that cultivates, plants and fertilizes all at the same time. That's 2 horse prontos side by side running up the field. That is a fantastic piece of equipment. You know, if you want to concentrate on standard grains, so barley, wheat, canola, soybeans, hell, it'll do your grass for you as well if you want to plant some grass. It'll really chew up those fields really quick. And by being able to do all 3 jobs at once, it's going to save you a huge amount of time. And the fourth piece of equipment that I think is an absolute standout in this DLC is the Great Plains YP2425A. Fantastic multi-purpose seeder. This can plant all of the regular grain crops and can also plant the row crops as well. The only thing it can't plant is grass and potatoes. Everything else is fair game with this seeder. It has a nice, decent sized capacity. Don't have to share that with fertilizer, it runs just seed. And if you hook it up, as you saw earlier in the video, you hook it up to the tank from the Hasson seeder, you really massively extend your capacity to seed. Now, in base game at the moment, the largest seeder that we have for row crops, such as corn, sunflower and soybeans, is a 9-meter horse seeder. This is double the size of that, and when hooked up to that tank, will run for hours before it needs to be topped up. That is a fantastic seeder. It's a must-have for every farm out there. Truly wonderful piece of equipment. So they are the 4 standout pieces of equipment for me in this DLC. And to have 4 out of 12, that's a third of this is absolute must-have pieces of equipment. And the rest are still fantastic on top of that as well. So yes, I really think you're getting a lot for your money here. Now there are a couple of downsides, a couple of negatives. There is a potential graphical bug with the feed pipe on the Terminator seed tank. We don't see any fill animation going in at the bottom of the pipe. I mean, that's not really a major issue. It's just a small graphical niggle, and I'm sure that will get patched in time. More worrying though is the frame rate issues that have cropped up with this DLC. It does on occasion cause your game to judder and lag a little bit. You know, it's unfortunate, it's noticeable. It's not so bad that it's a constant issue, but every now and again you will notice just a little bit of juddering in your game, and I think it's kind of exacerbated the more of the DLC you're using at the same time. So something to perhaps be wary of. I'm sure Giants will patch that in the future and help iron out some of those wrinkles. And there have also been reports of people having issues with their equipment pulling at a weird angle. I've seen plenty of photos and videos in the Facebook groups of people, you know, asking, why is my cultivator doing this? I haven't experienced that myself in my playtesting, but I have seen footage of other people with that issue. Again, I think Giants are already aware of that issue and they are working on a fix for it. So again, we should see a patch in the not too distant future. So don't let that put you off the DLC. So, as an overall rating, I would give this a 9 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic pack. We're getting a lot of bang for our buck. You know, we're getting 12 big big pieces of equipment, well, 10 big pieces of equipment, and 2 great tractors on top of that as well. Now, as I said, the tractors themselves aren't really necessary to use this equipment. All of it can be used by the existing large tractors that we have in game, but it's great to have a couple of different options, and they look and sound fantastic as well. So they're a welcome addition with this pack. And as I said, every single piece of equipment in this DLC pack can be useful, depending on the map that you're on. Some is only some of it will be used on certain maps. All of them can be used on maps like this, and with the pending arrival of the Mustang Valley mod map that Something in My Shoe 2 is currently working on. It's being tested at the moment. We may even potentially see that in the next few days. And that means that this equipment will be a must for that map because of the field sizes going all the way up to 104 hectares. As a console user, I think this is a must buy. As a PC user, you've seen it in use, you'll have to kind of make your own mind up. There are a lot of mods out there. Is this really, bringing anything new to you that you can't already get as a mod? Maybe, maybe not. It should be more stable and less prone to causing issues with your games, the mods. But you will have to make that decision for yourself. I can't really give advice to a PC gamer as a console gamer. But if you do own a PS4, if you own an Xbox One, for my money, this is something you have to buy. It's really going to enhance your gameplay. It's going to make certain things so much easier, such as planting corn and ploughing and cultivating at the same time. As just 2 examples. There's a lot of equipment here that can be used on a lot of existing maps. Outback, Sandy Bay, Sosnovka, Lawfolds, Goldcrest, even Chellington can all benefit massively from this DLC. So there we go. That's my opinion. I think you should buy it. I have a copy, and I'm loving it so far. Definitely going to be adding a lot of this equipment into my American Outback playlist. When Mustang Valley comes out, I'll be using a lot of this equipment as well, and I will even seep some of this equipment into some of my other farms as well. That's how much I like this pack, and I've spent a day playing with it before putting this video together. So this is based off several hours of testing rather than just a couple of minutes of trying something out. I really do think you should buy it. So with that said, I'm going to sign off. My name is Jim Bob. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe, all that good stuff. A thumbs up on the video will definitely help. I am still a fledgling channel trying to grow, and the more likes I get on my content, the more eyeballs will get drawn to the videos and help to grow the channel and grow the audience. Don't forget you can check out my other farms. As I say, I do have an American Outback series running at the moment. I also have a Sandy Bay series, Massey Manor on Colborough Park Farm, and Fent Farm on the Drummard Farm map. And I also have some other games out there as well. I'm running No Man's Sky at the moment, and Prison Architect. Tomb Raider is coming in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and there will be some other games coming up in the near future as well. So do keep an eye on the channel. And you can also reach me on Facebook at Jim Bob Plays Games. I'll put the link to my page in the description down below. So once again, thank you for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I will catch you all very soon.